Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Building and Grounds meeting, September 12th. Would like to have a roll call, please. Pardon? Oh, two?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks. Ms. Parker?
Present.
Mr. Hunter?
Present.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Kirkstra?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Ms. Armour Earps? Mr. Ashcraft?
Present.
Ms. Monday?
Present.
Mr. Marion? Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
We have a quorum.
I'd like to entertain a motion to accept Colton Eckhoff as a new member of our meeting. That would be Mr. Hunter, and then seconded by Ms. Monday. All those in favor of accepting Mr. Eckhoff as a new member, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Welcome, Colton.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. We'd like to entertain a motion to accept Mr. Colton in Zoom. Mr. Hunter?
That was my understanding of the motion.
For both of them, okay. And seconded by Mr. Ashcraft. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, there's been nothing presented for public comment. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? If not, then I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting for July 11th. Mr. Hunter as first, and then second by Mr. Dunhill. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. And seeing as we have no presentations, that we're going to turn it over to Mr. Andrews.
Doug Bright's here. We're going to open bids for the ICANN roof that went out to bid. So I'd like to ask for a motion to open these.
So Mr. Dunhill, second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Okay, this is the bid opening for the roof replacement at the ICANN Regional Office of Education building. The bid period for the project is now officially closed. As typical, the county reserves the right to reject any or all bids and to waive informalities in bidding. We do have 10 bids for the project today, so I'll try and be quick. Our first bid is from J.L. Adler Roofing.
From where?
J.L. Adler Roofing.
From where?
They're from Joliet. They submit bid security in the form of a 5% bid bond. They acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. Have submitted a base bid price of $398,740. $398,740. No proposed product substitutions. The bidder information has been submitted. Our next bid is from Anthony Roofing.
Where are they from?
From Aurora. Anthony Roofing submits bid security in the form of a 5% bid bond. They acknowledge addendums 1, 2, and 3. Have submitted a base bid price of $491,000 even, $491,000. No proposed product substitutions. Bidder information and project history has been submitted. Our next bid is from J&F Chiatello, Dyer, Indiana. J&F Chiatello. There we go. Bid security in the form of a 10% bid bond. They acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. Have submitted a base bid price of $439,000 $22, 439022. No proposed product substitutions. Bidder information and project history has been submitted. Next bid is from DCG Roofing from Melrose Park. Submit 5% bid bond for bid security. Acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. Submitted a base bid price of $474,616. 474,616. No proposed product substitutions. Bidder information, project history has been submitted. All right. Next bid is from F&G Roofing Company from Justice, Illinois. They submit a 10% bid bond for bid security. Acknowledge addendums 1, 2, and 3. Base bid price of $594,000. 594,000. No proposed product substitutions. Bidder information and project history has been submitted. Next bid is from RB Crowler Company from Morris. Crowler submits bid security in the form of a 5% bid bond. They acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. Have submitted a base bid price of $385,000. 385,000. No proposed product substitutions. Bidder information, project history has been submitted. Next bid is from Langlois Roofing, Kankakee. Langlois submits bid security, form of a 5% bid bond. They acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. Submitted a base bid price of $362,650. 362,650. No proposed product substitutions. Bidder information, project history has been submitted. Next bid is from Metal Master Roof Master from McHenry.
Metal Master.
Yes. Metal Master submits bid security in the form of a 5% bid bond. Acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. Submitted a base bid price of $439,419. 439,419. No proposed product substitutions. Bidder information, project history has been submitted. Next bid is from Ridderford Roofing Company, Arlington Heights. Ridderford submits bid security in the form of a 5% bid bond. They acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. And submitted a base bid price of $479,450. 479,450. No proposed product substitutions. Bidder information and project history has been submitted. And our last bid is from Ridgeworth Roofing Company. I'm not sure where they're from quite yet. find it in a second. The bid security is in the form of a 10% bid bond. They acknowledge receipt of addendums 1, 2, and 3. They have submitted a base bid price of $438,807. No proposed product substitutions. They're from Frankfurt, by the way. And bidder information and project history has been submitted. That concludes the bid opening for the ICANN roof replacement. We will evaluate the bids and get a recommendation to the county for acceptance of the apparent low bidder.
Let me ask you that, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, you know, in as much as Langlois is the lowest
13.
bidder, I would think, contingent upon you guys approving it.
Yes, sir.
Should we make a motion on that, contingent upon review of you guys as well as legal?
Yes.
I make that motion.
So it's getting ready to do that, Mr. Hunter.
Thank you.
Would like to entertain a motion to accept the lowest bidder
Of Langlois.
of Langlois Roofing.
Yeah.
That would be, wait, that would be by Mr. Hunter, second by
Colton.
Mr. Eckhoff. All those, what,
Oh,
discussion?
You have to receive, or accept the lowest, most responsible bidder. You can't give a name, I believe.
well, that is,
Going to the microphone to say.
Okay.
okay. Well, I thought that was a given in terms of my motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lowest, a motion to accept the lowest
And
bid as
responsible
presented.
bidder.
Responsible bidder,
Yeah,
Mr. Hunter,
yeah.
seconded by Mr. Eckhoff, correct? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Well, is there a roll call required on this one?
Yes, yes,
Ms. Parker?
yes, aye.
Mr. Hunter? Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Aye.
Mr. Gunnell? Mr. Kirkstrom?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Ashcraft? Ms. Monday? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
I'll just wait in the back.
Okay, with that, we're gonna move on to you.
All right, moving on. I'll try to run through this quick. So I know some of us have a meeting after this. Facility to report for the month of August. We had 109 work orders in the system, so kind of a light month in terms of work orders. Financial report that you have in front of you there. We're sitting just over $1 million year to date versus 910 last year. So you can get a feel for that. A lot of it's in 87,510 and then 56,400. Any questions on the financial report? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the building report. We'll start in animal control. Flagpole was recently installed, and the light for the flagpole was recently installed, so both those items are done. Waiting on signage. We got some signage coming. We've identified a masonry contractor that's going to help us out with that. So once the sign is ready, we'll get the signage company hooked up with the mason. We'll get the sign installed. But everything at animal control is in pretty good shape. Here at 189, as many of you probably noticed, the west side projects are all complete. The last item was the generator and the associated piping. That's all been painted. We painted the door as well. If you've noticed, that was painted black. I believe the improvements look fantastic. Much needed. So really proud of that. The handicap button, if you've noticed, when you come in on that side, at the base of it is rusting, so I'm going to explore options to replace that as well. But as a whole, like I said, the west side looks very good. Next item I want to discuss is a situation was brought to my attention. The assessor was speaking to me, and there's been some issues with access to his office area. If you're familiar with the building down there, there's a swinging door as a gate. And on the gate it says authorized personnel only. Well, it seems some people can't figure out who's authorized and who's not. So we have people just coming in through that gate. So he had spoke to me a little bit. I spoke with Ms. Speckman as well. We would like to, and we don't need to get too in the weeds on this, but maybe just a head nod if we want to look into putting something a little more permanent there, maybe a half door like I discussed, maybe framing out a half door and adding a swipe card access to it, just something that would be a little more prohibitive than just letting anybody just walk back there. I mean, as far as pricing goes, I can bring that back at the next committee and we can discuss that. But is that a project that everybody agrees that we may want to look a little further into? Okay. Any? Good?
Looks like they were all.
Yeah, I think Mr. Wheeler.
I would recommend looking in to see if whatever it is ADA accessible.
Good point. Thank you. Alara Engineering, I'm working with them. If you recall, we've engaged them to help us with the HVAC facility assessment here at 189 and at the courthouse. So I've been in contact with the gentleman with Alara, so that is in the works. We had some carpet cleaning done recently after COVID and all the X's that were put on the floor. And once the tape was removed, you know, we had a lot of areas that were in pretty bad shape. So happy to report that that was completed on a Saturday, the entire first floor, and then the recorder's office as well. So everything's looking good in those areas. Court Street entrance on the south of the building. I had a contractor come out, so there's some grout or mortar on the bottom of the granite that we've talked about at committee a few times. I'm working on that, as well as the epoxy that's on the concrete right at the door is peeling. I'm sure everybody's noticed that when they've walked in. So I've had somebody look at that as well. I'm waiting on some solutions and numbers to come back on that. On top of everything else, tuck pointing at the building is still on my radar. Just haven't had a chance to get to that yet. Parking lot, I believe, needs to be painted and striped on the west side of the building, probably both of them. So that's something that I'm looking to hopefully get completed this fall. I may or may not end up asking County Highway to help me with that. Cross that bridge when I come to it. The radiator in the generator's been replaced. We've long had an issue with the radiator. Every once in a while we'll get a high temp sensor alarm because the radiator's low because it has a slow leak. We've been kind of limping that along for a number of years. They came out to do the PM and they basically said, you don't have any more time. Like you need to do something. And having that being a critical piece of equipment, we went ahead and got that replaced. And that is now done. Let's see. Moving on to the courthouse. The circuit clerk project is nearly complete. There's just some miscellaneous items, some furniture that we're still waiting on that I believe is going to be due. I believe it'll be due it's in tomorrow, if I remember correctly. As far as restriping goes, County Highway is going to restripe the South Drive at the courthouse. They're going to do that this Saturday. And I got a deal worked out with Greg. I'm going to help him out for a portion of the expense, and he's going to cover some of it as well. So thank you to Greg and County Highway for helping us out at the courthouse. The elevator update, I've spoke with Alara, who again we've engaged to help us with this project. I've also spoke with a local electrical contractor. I've also been in communication with Kone Elevator. So our engineer has brought up a number of questions as it relates to the elevator fixtures in the control room, voltage questions, it's several of them. So Kone is going to be sending out a service technician basically to go through the unit, try to ascertain, just to try to get some answers to some of these questions that Alara has posed. So once we can get the answers to these questions, get this back to Alara, at that point Alara will be able to make some formal recommendations on the direction that we're headed. So it's moving at a snail's pace, but it is moving. Are there any questions on that? Okay. And just going through the courthouse stuff, I think it's worth noting that, over the last few years at the courthouse, if you think back from the front steps, the replacement of the front steps, the replacement of the South Drive, replacement of the sidewalks, the basement renovation, handling all the water intrusion issues that we had on both the east and west sides, the ADA courtroom remodel, the circuit clerk office renovation, the handicap ramp renovation, and the associated awning. I mean, we have done an incredible amount of stuff at that courthouse. So, you know, I want to thank Andy. He's helped me out with a lot of that stuff over the years. I want to thank everybody here for, you know, your support in doing all that. But I mean, overall, I think we should be very proud of, you know, the amount of work that we've put into that courthouse. So, annex and old jail, I went through there a few weeks ago. The floors needed to be stripped and waxed, so we got that done. Roof work and tuck pointing should be commencing over the next couple weeks. So I'm working with our project manager on that, as well as Doug Bright. Out at the jail, showers are in bad shape. We've talked about that at this committee many times. It's finally getting to a point where something needs to be done. They need to be cleaned much more frequently than what they should, and I don't want to again get too far in the weeds on that, but I've spoke with the sheriff, and the sheriff has agreed to cover the costs of some sort of solution for these showers. We had a contractor come out, and in some of the jail areas we have stainless steel shower enclosures, which are probably 15 to 16 years old, and they're still in decent shape. So I think that's the path we're going to end up going down. It will be a considerable expense, but again, thank you to the sheriff for, you know, agreeing to help out with this. In fact, not only help out, but cover the cost of it. So I am looking into possibly hiring someone to help us with the engineering of it, figuring out if we're going with stainless steel, the exact size, getting those fabricated, getting those installed, etc. So I mean, I guess just a head nod from everybody. Is this something I feel we've kicked this down the road for quite a while? Is this something that we feel like we should, you know, through the sheriff, but certainly something that we should look into doing? Okay. Laundry, and this goes with the theme of that facility being, you know, 20 years old. So the laundry facilities are 20 years old, and we currently have 2 washers that are down and in need of significant repair. That's for the 2 of them will probably be $15,000 or more. So obviously at that point, you know, I'm no genius, but at that point you're probably looking at replacement as opposed to repair. So I have some waiting on some numbers. We should be getting some numbers in on that as well. We have a water heater that's leaking at public safety. Again, almost a 20-year-old water heater. So that's slated for replacement as well. So that's I ran through that pretty quick, but that's the building report. Any questions on that?
No questions.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the courthouse exterior lighting. So I printed out a page. I handed out to many of you. This is one page of about 100. So the entire project has been engineered. It looks very good. I have all the light fixture information. I have all the wiring information. This project is ready to go out to bid. Now, the engineer's estimate that I received was well in excess of $250,000. So I guess my question to the committee is this a project that we, I guess, want to modify? Is it a project that it's engineered, it's ready to go? Is this something we maybe want to look at maybe doing next year or the following year? So if there's any comments on that, I'm happy to take them.
Yes, Mr. Alexander.
I say we just put it to the side and possibly look at it next year.
Okay. Any? Ms. Monday?
I just want to be clear that I understand. So when you say the lighting project, you're talking about replacing all of the lights with LED lights, just for, not colored lights.
Yes,
just
colored lights.
Oh,
sorry.
for the color.
Sorry. So this is for the colored lighting project that we discussed.
Oh.
So this is, and if you can see on the rendering, so all the lights that are, you see the lights that are above the first floor?
Mm-hmm.
There's a ledge that runs all the way around the building.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very low profile light fixtures that you wouldn't even see them. So it's getting electrical conduit to all of these locations. It's getting the low profile fixtures in all these locations. It's, you know, it's a pretty involved project. I mean, it would look absolutely beautiful, but it's just a question of you know, where we're at financially and if this is something that we want to entertain sooner rather than later, or like I said, kick it down the road.
Mr. Hunter?
Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, Wes, as long as I've been here, I know I've brought this up time and time again, and I'm not for kicking the can down the street, and I've been here 4 years. July made 4 years. I'm not asking for something like the merchandise mart at all. And as when you provided this to me, I was looking at what about the possibilities of the DBA, if there's a TIF that covers this area, if there could be partnership with other entities to take a look at this. Let's find out what it's really going to cost. We're not saying we're going to act upon it, but let's find out what we're talking about and see if we can engage in some other partners in terms of the cost. You know, I think this is something that the 106,000 residents of the county would appreciate. However, it comes with a cost, and you know, I'm a pragmatist too. With all due respect, I'd just like to find out what we're talking about in terms of cost, because the longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to be, no matter what.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to keep the project on the radar. However, if there are alternative funding sources out there that you know, we might be able to take advantage of, that's certainly a good point.
Chair recognizes Mr. Smith.
In my opinion, to put lights on a building that go on after the building is empty, that currently has working lights, is a waste of money. If we're going to spend that kind of money, let's spend it on more police, public safety in some kind of way. Lights are great, but it's those colored lights, ultimately, they do nothing, in my opinion. Not a thing.
I get it. I get it.
So, you know, in my opinion, I would move to kill.
Either chair recognizes Mr. Wheeler.
Was that a motion to kill the project?
Looks like we're going to need a motion.
No, that was a motion from Mr. Smith.
You did the motion?
No, Mr. Smith just did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so that was, we need a second on that?
I'll second.
Ms. Monday, all those in favor of?
Roll call, I want a roll call.
Okay, do roll call, please.
So wait a second, let's clarify the motion. So the roll call is to
Kill the
project.
We're not doing the lights. No lights. Ever. Or not now. Not now.
Okay.
Ms. Parker,
Aye.
Mr. Hunter,
No.
Mr. Hess,
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff,
Aye.
Mr. Dennell, Mr. Kirkstra,
Aye.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Ashcraft,
Aye.
Ms. Monday, Mr. Wheeler,
Nay.
motion carries.
Comment?
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you. To kill the project would be wasting all the engineering money that we just spent to get the actual spec on this. So that's why I voted nay. That was where the waste of money came, in my opinion. Thank you.
All right, I think that's all I got. So
Any other business that we have to discuss this morning? If not, yes, Mr.
Don't be
Hunter.
surprised if there's a motion for a reconsideration on this thing. I mean, you know, I think those individuals who voted to kill this project, and that was the motion, I think you guys are very myopic. And I think that it would be a cultural attribute to look at this and find out what we're talking about. So you heard what the chairman has indicated in terms of the wasting of the funds and so forth, but you know, I think we have an iconic building here, and I think it could be further enhanced.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Monday.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that if this is a topic that wants to be revisited next year, when we can maybe take a closer look at who can partner, how can partner, when they can partner, if that's even a remote possibility, it is something that could be discussed. If you've got 5 entities that each want to throw in 50,000, okay, great, then let's talk about this again. But, you know, it's preliminary to say, yes, let's do this, if we don't even know what the possibilities are. So I think those of you that on the board that may want to consider it, if you know, you can do your homework and find those people who are going to throw in some cash, some cold hard cash, then bring it back.
Madam, I made that suggestion that we could take a look at, see if it would be covered by a TIF
Well-
or the DBA. I mean,
Yeah, then you go ahead and find out.
I'll do that, but don't tell me kill the project.
Yeah,
That,
for
that's
now.
myopic.
For now.
No, you don't kill it. You could defer. You don't kill it.
Mr. Alexander.
And also in the future, the engineering will still be there. We already paid for that. That's not going anywhere. We could still go back, look at that a year from now, and the money,
Mhm.
it essentially won't be wasted if we come back next year. We still have it. We still have the product. That's all I have to say. So.
Basically, we're putting the project on pause for a little bit.
Well, that's not the motion. It
No.
wasn't a motion. You know, I understand King's English. They said the motion was to kill, K-I-L-L, matar in Spanish. You know, they didn't say defer, and I could have lived with that until such time as we find out if we had some partners. But you know, to kill it, that's myopic.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Hunter? Okay. Okay, seeing that, entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Donnell. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.